Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reality Game Form Survivor podcast. I am your host, Colin Connors, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Patrick Sullivan.
Hi, everybody.
We also have with us the Latina flavor, Alicia Garza.
Hey, y'all.
The always mysterious Prince Ty.
Good evening.
The super handsome Stephen Lehman.
Oh, thanks, Colin.
We also have Sagar.
Hi.
And joining us, the host of the Survivor Oz podcast, Ben.
Hello, Survivor Odd. That's appropriate.
Survivor Oz podcast. Anyways, I'm a little tongue-tied because I am personally still in shock from tonight's episode. Once again, we've had another blindside. It seems to be happening every other episode, but let's go all the way back to the very beginning. And Steven, let's ask you about your favorite hag, Cass, and Cass saying she knew all about Spencer and that he was going to play the idol.
Yes, it goes back to after Tribal Council, and Cass was having an interesting conversation with Spencer, which boiled down to the effect of, Spencer, you were being too nice to me for me not to realize you had the idol and were playing it on yourself. And then she goes into a long monologue saying, you know, he's a college-age boy and those are the most selfish things on the planet, so I knew he was playing it on himself. So she patted herself on the back for that, which I thought was funny and at the same time kind of smug in a bad way. So
It reminds me of Sherry from Philippines.
I was literally just about to say that.
Yeah, it would be like, it's like treating her employees in all of her little franchises or whatever. Just that smug comment.
Well, do you actually believe that she knew that was going to happen, Ben? Or do you think she's just, covering her own butt?
I think she's covering her own butt. I mean, she just has this way of saying things that she's always going out there and just being so honest and upfront, and then, she's been a bit quiet and hasn't had much to do or say in the last few weeks, so it's like, hey, let's have an opportunity to say, well, yeah, I knew this is what he was going to do and everything, but, yeah, look, it's easy to just guess that after it happens, and say, oh, I knew that was going to happen.
Well, where is the chaos you were supposed to bring?
I don't know. Did she ever... That went back to when she said, oh, here comes another tribal council with Cass bringing chaos, and it was the first time we ever freaking saw it, for God's sake.
Well, yeah, she seems to have completely disappeared from the radar. It seemed we were getting a little bit of the Cass show early on, and now it's just like, she's there. Saga, what do you make of this? Is she going to win?
No, she won't win, but I think I can definitely see her making finals at the very least. But, as a GOAT, most likely. I do see that there's like kind of a duo thing going on with her and Trish, which I kind of wish they would show more of that. I mean, that's just the sense I'm getting. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that. But it seems like after this round, it's kind of split up into three pairs almost, with Trish and Cass, Tony Wu and Spencer and Tasha. So I don't know.
Good point.
Yeah, I was going to say, has anyone else seen anything, a kind of a Trish Cass? Because I haven't picked up on it, but has anyone else picked up on that?
Yeah,
I've just kind of viewed the three women standing there and waiting. I mean, that seems to be all that they've been doing.
I feel like Trish has made all the big moves this season. Like, she was the one that got Cass to flip originally, and she was the one that got Jeffro to stay with them when she was feeling, like, uncertain. I just wish they would show more of Trish actually making those decisions, but I think it was pretty clear to me that she was behind all those things.
They might show
she did have sugar cubes to give them. So
they might show more of Trish or whatever in her brilliant moves or whatever if it wasn't all about Tony.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I was going to throw this to Ben. What do you make of Trish seemingly controlling the game, but we're only hearing from Tony? Because it makes me think that I'm going to give Trish any credit at the end.
Can I just say that I have a whole bunch of people probably listening to this about to cringe because they know I've been bashing on Trish for about 2 months now.
Me too.
I completely disagree. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of Trish fans out there. Trish is probably one of, if not the most overrated players in the most recent history of Survivor. Besides, yeah, look, she's lucked on to every move that apparently she's made. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, we're getting the Tony show, but we've had 2 episodes in a row now of Trish where it all comes down to, I'm going to go get food, not strategize. I was backstabbed by Tony. I'm going to trust him. Oh, I'm going to spend all my money on food. And Jesus Christ, Spencer's skinny. So, I mean, if that's the winner's edit, then please, I'm going to eat a hat.
No, what I've seen from Trish, though, is that all the moves that she's claiming are like what Sagar said was all part of Tony's agenda. It's Tony is pushing that, and she's just helping him along the way.
She is his trusty steed.
And no matter no matter what, she's not turning on him. I mean, I guess we'll see after this episode, but you know, she knows what he's about, but she keeps pushing.
But I mean, is that a bad thing though? Because like, if she goes to the end with him, I would imagine that she'd have a better chance.
She was doing my work for me, you know.
I think if Tony he could win easily.
I think so.
Same. I agree. Everyone is over going to the point where they're saying, oh, Tony's backstabbed again, he can't win. And like the Russell comparisons, I think the difference here is that, yeah, Tony's backstabbing, but Tony's not being a devious prick like Russell was. I mean, yeah, okay, he's upsetting people and backstabbing, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Some people thought that Tyson was doing that and he was really pissing people off, but they still respected enough for him to get votes. And like Spencer said, that him and Tasha will vote. Whether or not he was just saying that, we'll have to wait and see. Jeffra handled that a lot better than I thought she would. Mm-hmm. LJ's on the jury. He's not that pissed off Tony. Jeremiah's not. You've only really got Sarah and Morgan at the moment who aren't going to vote for Tony.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I concur. I do want to bring up Spencer, and something I thought interesting was after the auction, Spencer immediately was telling Tony like, "Oh, Tasha's doing this alliance." Spencer was kind of throwing Tasha under the bus, and it seems to me that Spencer is completely 100% playing an individual game, whereas Tasha, his partner, is that she's at least sticking up for him a little bit. And why did Tony buy the Girls Alliance? Was that Spencer being a good player or Tony being paranoid? Anyone can answer this.
Little of
Tony's
both.
paranoid.
Little of both.
Okay.
I'd say Tony's paranoid, yeah.
Tony's paranoid?
A little of both. Little of both.
Spencer knows Tony's paranoia, and he used it to his advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Spencer's smart enough to know that was his only play, so to that end, I give him a little bit of credit.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the majority of the credit goes to the fact that Tony is a fucking crazy person. And
yeah.
He don't have anything. And that's why he's not going to win. It's not that he's necessarily disliked. It's that everyone knows he's a fucking crazy person, so he gets there against anyone that is not his trusty steed or Chaos Cass, which... At this point, he probably won't because he'll get paranoid that they're plotting against him. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he gets to the end, I see him going with Wu, and I see Wu being the likable alternative.
Woo!
Woo! And then this would be depressing because the worst strategist since Fabio would have won.
It'd be another Fabio win.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
I could see anyone winning this game. So I was just going to say that I'm trying to work this out.
You see Cass win?
I can see a very slim chance of Cass winning. Like she's like right down the bottom with Wu, I think, in chances of winning. But it's not like a season where you've generally got a person where you're like, there's no way in hell they're going to win, like a Rick or someone like that. But
I was feeling like about Jeffra, but she's gone now.
Yeah, well, I had been on the Jeffra bandwagon for about ages, saying that she's doing this well, and I think really when LJ went, that kind of sold out all hope that she was going to win. But if LJ was still in it, then I reckon Jeffra was in with him. Poor LJ.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think there's been enough warning on this podcast for LJ.
Alicia was in love with LJ, and we all pick winners. And Alicia was lucky enough to get LJ, and we all thought LJ was going to win. Ben, I haven't been following with you, but were you on the LJ's going to win bandwagon?
Not for the first few weeks when it started, but then I did jump on it. And then when he went, it was just like, wow, this season it just took another turn because
it makes sense.
It shocked everyone except for Alex Cash.
Gabon lost his market.
Gabon lost his market. That's a good comparison. We've been talking a lot about Tony, and he now has 2 hidden immunity idols. And unlike James, he physically cannot be voted out with one of them, and I think he's the kind of player to play it anytime he feels somewhat threatened. But I guess what I want to talk about is how people online seem to be bitching about Tony having this overpowered idol. However, if Spencer would have found it, I bet the internet would absolutely be freaking out. And I think I think it's bullshit that we just go, oh, Tony's annoying, so it's production that got him the idol. Ben, do you want to give us some insight about this? Because I know you've been hearing it the whole time.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I mean, to be honest, I've never been one of these people who has really been all against the Tyler Perry idol. Tony, probably rename it the Tony Perry idol. But I think you're absolutely right. And the thing that I think spurs this, and again, it's kind of comparisons to Russell. I mean, we live in a post-Russell world now where we've had one person dominate the airtime, get all this attention, and in the end, he just sort of, isn't a all-round enough player that he can win the game. So I think that's what everybody's like, rolling their eyes. We know Tony's going to get to the end and he's going to lose like Russell. And this is where I think people are overlooking Tony in what he is doing. Like, yeah, okay, he's brash, he's bold, he makes mistakes like everyone, his first-time players and all this sort of stuff. But I still think that with all this attention that he's getting and that everyone is sort of against it, like as you said, like if it was Spencer, I think Tony is playing a very, very good game that people are just overlooking because he's getting so much attention.
Now, Ty, I bet you have a lot of things to say in response to that.
If he wins, it would be against all of the editing that we've gotten to this point, and I don't see them.
Well, do you think Tony is playing a bad game, Ty?
I don't think Tony's playing the worst game. I think he is overly paranoid, and I think it's getting him into trouble. There's literally no reason whatsoever that Spencer should still be around. None. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I'm afraid that even if the Girl Alliance had been happening, they would have been going after Tony, and Tony had an idol that literally would. Again, I mean, he's invincible for a round. Whatever round they go after him, he's fucking invincible. Nobody fucking knows about it except for him. Mm-hmm. So why on earth would he be paranoid about them knowing that? He has a failsafe in place to stop it. But because Tasha won immunity, and because people were in the fucking ocean, which is what people fucking do on Survivor, and left. Based on, again, editing, which, I mean, how true is the editing? Who knows? But that's what they're presenting us.
So the editing doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. I just
because I think Tony.
It will mean something in the end. They will not have a person look like an idiot and look like a crazy person that ends up winning. I don't believe that to be the case.
Alicia, I want to hear from you on this.
I was just thinking that Tony finding all these idols is reminding me a lot of Tyson from last season, from Blood vs. Water. Crawling around in the trees and, lucking out with a couple idols. And I think the difference is that with Tyson, you could see, what a great, strong game he was playing. And so you were like, yeah, Tyson, you're going to help yourself get to the end because you deserve it. And with Tony, it's just are you fucking kidding me? You have yet another idol. You, screwed around in the dirt, and now you have something else.
It's believable when Tyson finds multiple idols because Tyson was a cool, collected player for the entirety of the game, despite dealing with people that he found annoying. Mm-hmm. He kept it bottled up, and he never lost his cool. Tony, on the other hand, literally loses his cool. He may have never had it. So to that end, that's why there's negative backlash.
Ben? I was just going to say, sorry, I mean, do you think that maybe this could be, in a way, a ploy from CBS that they've Tony is obviously, we know what he's like. This is what he is, so of course he's going to get airtime. But also, CBS could be saying, hey, everyone's going to assume Tony's not going to win because we've edited people like this before and they haven't won. And then, in a way, that's going to throw you under the bus if he does win. You're like, oh, fuck, someone like Tony does win Survivor, once out of 28 seasons.
Well, two things about the...
Well, they did already have an idiot who was edited like an idiot win. Because, again, Fabio happened. Yeah. So, to that end...
real quick, before we talk more about the Tony Idol thing, I just want to say I am scared, and Ben, I want to know if you agree with me on this, that Spencer's surviving basically based on luck, and I'm so afraid he's going to become a huge overrated player that people are going to talk about forever, and we're going to see him come back a bunch of times, and he's never going to do well.
Spencer is going to... I said Spencer was going to come back before the season even started, just based on his pre-game stuff. I'm like, he's a returning player, no doubt about that. We talked a little bit about last week about his game, and a few of our Aussies were saying that, he's done nothing, he's so overrated. Mm-hmm. I think he's done a fair few things, but I agree with you that, he could be someone like, to me, he's always a mixture of a Malcolm and a Cochrane.
Yes, I was thinking that about
but I mean, Cochrane came back and won. Malcolm has. I mean, I can see it both ways. I could see him winning Survivor though one day.
Yeah, after he plays 4 times. Patrick, what's your take on Spencer?
I don't think it was just luck. For some reason, it seemed like him and Tasha were working in tandem together, but we didn't see them talking about him saying Girl Alliance and her trying to make Tony paranoid and just switch things up by being in the ocean with him and talking to him.
Symbiotically.
What's that?
Well, they kind of have to at this point. Like, I hope they don't go down as a great duo because they have to work together.
Yeah, they're not a great duo.
They're pretty much
Tasha
forced to.
vote him out for
But second, who the hell is Trish to tell anyone they're too skinny? Seriously.
Yes.
I was just really excited because the horse could talk.
Guys, we gotta remember when Danielle comes and visits her mother in a few weeks. She's gonna be trotting down the beach to her.
Oh, God.
I don't know if there's going to be a family reunion this season, but I do want to say, we've been talking a lot about Tony and Sagar. I want to hear from you on this. Tony had, when he found that second hidden immunity idol, he showed it to everyone. And I actually thought that was a smart move on his part, mainly because if they try to flush it, he has the invincible idol too. Like, I thought that was a good thing for Tony to show that idol because it's going to build a little bit of trust, I guess. I mean, he did kind of ruin that when he voted out Jeffer, but I think it's playing a decent game, and I think him showing off the idol was smart. Sagar, am I right or wrong?
I think you're right, yeah. Like, there's really no harm, I think, that can come out of, especially now that when's the last round they can play them?
I haven't said.
I think 5?
Yeah. So
they usually say, don't they? Because we were talking about last week. Like, usually they will say at some point, but they haven't for some reason this season.
Because it's never. You can keep it to final tribal.
Yeah, you use it at the final tribal council. What, I didn't win. I want to use my idol now, so I win.
When Tony returns for Heroes versus Villains 2, he'll be like, okay, I got these 2 idols.
They count now. They carry on to future seasons.
Well, I figured Malcolm's idol in Philippines would have carried over to Karamoan, but I guess it didn't. So.
Well, Malcolm, I don't think brought it. A little side note: does anyone here know the luxury item James brought to Heroes versus Villains?
Yeah, his idols, right?
It was his idols. So maybe he thought they could carry over. Who knows?
Maybe they thought they could trick others into them being idols and not have to whittle them out of a stick.
James could be like, "This is my idol," and they go, "That's the one from China," and he's like, "Oh, I just want to win."
Well, how about this idol? No, that's your other one from China.
Yes. So another amazing thing happened this episode, and that was Tasha won immunity again.
Yes.
Holy crap, that girl's got game. Steven, you're a huge Tasha fan.
I am.
How elated were you? And I think she actually put a target on herself with this one.
Well,
because,
she
had one already.
She had one already.
I was gonna say.
I don't know how she's going to make it to the final tribal council. Anyway, Steven, go ahead.
I for those who don't know, I'm a rabid Tasha fan, but I was very audible with my cheering when she won. But at the same time, I'm glad she won because it kept her safe. But realistically, I didn't think she had a shot at getting to final tribal anyway. In terms of just regularly making it there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's certainly possible if Cass attempts to cause more, chaos in her mind, because maybe Cass is just realizing, let's just torpedo everyone's game. So to that end, maybe she has a chance, and I'd love to see Tasha win, but I just don't see how it's possible unless she immunity whores her way.
She might be able to do it. Ben, what's your take on Tasha?
I've done a complete turnaround on her. And can I just say, I'll pronounce her as Tasha. It's my Australian accent. It sounds terrible compared to Tasha. Tasha sounds so nice, but Tasha sounds crap. Tasha. But everyone was sort of going on about her at the start, and I was kind of like, what's the big deal? And can I just pause
I think
for
we
2
might be
seconds?
twins on this sentiment.
Oh, really? Beautiful. So I'm watching the playoffs at the same time, and Toronto just won after choking from a 24-point lead to win by 2. But anyway, enough of that. Thanks, Alicia. Yeah, I've turned around into completely. And the fact that she's won 3 now, and
3.
the first, I love stats. I'm a stats guy. first ever African American contestant to win 3 immunities, not just in one season, but in the history of Survivor. And also, she's now only 1 win away from joining Kim, Jenna, and Kelly as 4-time female winners in a season for immunity. So, Challenge Beast, she's my number 1 pick at the moment to win this game. So, go Tasha.
Oh, how do you think she's going to get there, though?
Well, I think she can keep winning immunities for starters. And also, if next week, if there is a flip, like if somebody tries to turn against Tony, the brains, Cass, she's flipped enough this season, it wouldn't surprise me if she goes back to the brains. I don't know, I just see her, it's kind of like each week you're expecting Spencer or Tasha to go, and they somehow survive. And every single season with 3 tribes, we always have the tribe that sucks get people into the final 4 somehow. So yeah, I just see her doing it.
I mean, that seems to be like a fair assessment. I do want to talk a little bit about what we think is going to happen next week. Is there any way that Trish, Wu, and Cass just come together with Tony and they pick off Spencer or Tasha? Is it possible? This is the second time that Tony has blindsided this alliance. Is it possible for them to come back together? And anyone can answer this.
If Tasha is not immune, she is dead. Period.
Anyone agree or disagree with that?
I disagree.
It breaks my heart to say it, but yeah. But it's also possible that Tony just becomes so paranoid that realistically is possible, that he just...
Yes, but he has an immunity idol where he can basically play it, and whoever he voted for went home. So to that end, again, if Tasha does not have immunity, she's dead.
And I think that's a good point, because let's say Tony, they all vote for Tony. Who's Tony going to vote for to leave? He's not going to vote for Trish because he still wants to work with her. He's not going to vote for Wu. He's not going to vote for Cass. He's not going to vote for Spencer.
He could vote for Cass.
I think he could vote for Wu and Cass. He's put Wu's name out before.
Tony?
I don't think he'd vote for Wu.
I don't think he would vote for Wu right now, though.
Vote for a woman.
But if he saw Wu turning against him...
Oh, yeah. That is true.
Yeah, but I don't think...
But I don't think he would, see him... I don't think he would see Wu turn against him and then have, had the foresight before the votes even happened to, vote for Wu and then use his special powers idol to get Wu out.
Is Tony going to use that other idol he has on someone else? Yes or no?
I doubt it.
Well, I thought he was going to use it tonight on Spencer if he was worried about the vote situation, but evidently not. Also, a little nugget. When they were organizing the Jeffra vote, Spencer told Tony to go talk to Tasha about it, and Tony said himself that Spencer had to do it. So Tony stood up Tasha. So I'm hoping that follows the trend of LJ and Garrett standing up Tasha, and Tasha takes out everyone who doesn't want to strategize with her, and everyone who wants to stifle her game.
And that would make Finn very happy.
Yes. The thing with, I suppose, if she doesn't win immunity, that as silly as this sounds, this is just like a complete left of field. If Tony wants to save someone to try and get his way somehow, that if everyone starts to turn against him like they've teased us, mind you, though, how many times have they teased us and it's always wrong?
Mm-hmm.
He
Wu
could then
died. I just want to point out Wu was.
Well, come on.
Yeah.
I was expecting that. But he could then have everyone turn against him. He's all of a sudden got Tasha and Spencer maybe, so he could then use his idol to save Tasha and then blindside, Trish, Wu, or Cass as a way of saying, well, fuck you, this is what you were going to do to me. That's just like a real random left of field thing that probably won't happen.
But Tony is really random.
Yeah, and this season has been
and paranoia.
This season has been batshit crazy.
Yeah,
why
flat
do we
out.
predict it?
Who? No one ever saw this coming.
Which is great. Great.
Remember how everyone was saying Tony and Cass have to go pre-merge? I remember that.
I thought Tony was a merge boot. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, though, if they're all pissed off and turning on Tony, but he's still got Spencer and Tasha that he just voted with, and so that might gain favor with them. So
it could be a final 3 of Tony, Spencer, Tasha. Tasha wins that final immunity, votes out Tony. Tasha wins 9-0, and then
is it a final 2?
Yeah, final 2. Then Ben gets on Survivor 29 and wins.
I don't think Tasha wins. I don't.
Colin, can you not fill my head with the possibility of a Tasha win? Because that would be too much for me.
Well, anyways, Ty, let's talk about who you think.
At least you still have that dream. LJ's gone. I don't get it anymore.
Yeah, since Morgan's gone, I'm just crying every week. So.
You know what? Me too. It was not fair. She went too soon. But anyways,
Let's have coconut boobs.
If this was Big Brother, she could have floated till the end. All right.
She needed a life vest.
Needed a life vest.
She has
She
two
floats
inflatable devices on her
everywhere
chest.
near water, so she's just a floater.
And Ben, what do you think of Morgan returning? Because I hear a lot of people saying she could actually has a high chance of returning. I am for it. I think she could win Survivor.
I don't give a
What?
shit what season, for what reason. Morgan has to come back,
Yes.
and I
Amen.
think she could win Survivor just
Win
because
Survivor.
anyone who votes her out is a dickhead.
She's on my season. She's winning Survivor. Anyways,
I
Ty.
just need more like perfect comments, like the ones that she has said, where if anyone could choose between being ugly or cute, they would pick cute.
And that's going. I mean, is that not true?
It's so true.
Exactly.
It is true.
And Alicia,
It is.
me and you are both cute, and we both know that that's damn true.
Yeah.
Ty, real quick, let's blast through some power rankings.
At number 6, we have Cass, because she is terrible at everything, and fuck her. At 5, we have Trish. To this point, a horse has never won the game of Survivor, and I am not thinking that an interspecies thing is going to happen now. Let's put it this way. We discussed earlier the idea that all of Tony's quote-unquote moves could be like Trish's master plan, but if it was Trish's master plan, she wouldn't have been blindsided by the LJ vote, and she wouldn't have been blindsided by this vote. So she's clearly not playing that well.
Actually, you
She
know,
sucks.
that's a very good point.
Yes,
Exactly.
she's also not good. I'm putting Tony at number 4 because I'm still sticking to the idea that he could easily get to the end, but he's not going to win based on the fact that he has been edited as a crazy person. Philip Shepard got to the end. He was edited as a crazy person. He didn't win. But I mean, it's just
That's another realm of crazy.
fair enough. I mean, let's put it this way: if Tony randomly gets a feather in his hat at any point, it's done. It's done.
Even Philip Shepard got a vote at Final Tribal.
That's true. I mean, Tony is way ahead of the two ladies that I just mentioned. They have no shot of winning whatsoever. I would give Tony about like a 10 to 15% chance, possibly. At number 3, I have Tasha, because Tasha will definitely win if she gets to the end, I think.
But you don't think anyone will let her?
No, I don't. I don't even think Spencer would let her. If she's not immune at the final 4, I could see Spencer booting her for Tony and whoever the fuck else is left. I could see that happening. Particularly because Spencer would probably then become the biggest challenge competitor, because he's the only other one that's won anything besides, I think Wu won one too.
Yes,
But
yes, he did. Okay, don't forget
Yes.
Wu.
and yes, because of his special shoes. So yeah, unless she wins everything from here on out, I think she gets voted out. So to that end, I honestly think she goes next week. So I mean, based on potential, I have her at 3, but I don't see how she could get to the end. At number 2, I have Wu. Wu is my default.
Woo!
If everything goes to shit, he's our winner because he's the least offensive person.
Well, Ty,
Personal-wise,
you had that quote, and I thought it was really true. You said, in a season where everyone has bad strategy, absence of strategy is the best thing, and I just butchered that. But
yeah, you summed up the point though exactly, and that's kind of Wu. Wu's a nice guy. Wu's not ruffled any feathers. Nobody thinks he's that smart, but at the same time, if he's up against
that's
Tony
been
the crazy
blindsided.
person and they're arguing, yeah, exactly. He's been in on everything. So if he gets there to the end with anybody other than Spencer or Tasha, I could see him easily winning. He easily beats. I think he easily beats the other 3. I think Tony can only win if he's at the end with Trish or Cass. Wu would win against any of those. And I think Spencer, who is my number 1, wins against anybody except Tasha, who we won't let get there. I think Spencer, I don't know, he's gotten the best at it, and that could be because they're, bringing him back for another season, which I'm sure they are, but at the same time, he keeps, there's no logical reason that he would still be here if he doesn't fucking win. at this point.
But this season has no logic to it, though.
I know it doesn't, but at the same time, I am a person with a logical thinking brain, and to that end, I am.
So, Ty, if you were playing this season of Survivor, you would be voted out like second, is what you're saying. Because nothing they're doing makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would be like, hey, Jatia just dumped our rice, and then I'd get voted out.
I still don't understand how Jatia didn't get, like, I
don't either, but I'm so grateful.
Because Jatia is fucking awesome.
Ben, were you a big Jatia fan?
Yeah, she was one of my, I think I put her at 4th or 5th, and I loved her. I think
and how do you
great.
feel about that now? How do you feel about her?
I still love her as a person.
I don't think she's a bad human being. Anyways, before we
I don't know how she remembers to breathe from time to time.
Anyways, before we wrap things up, there have been a lot of rumors about Survivor Season 30, and the most predominant one is that it will be all new players. And I am actually against that.
Yes.
Explain to me why I'm wrong, people.
Well,
I don't know. I just heard this rumor. You said it.
my thought process is if we're going to do a special season on the zeros, Palau wasn't really all that special unless you count Oolong as well as the 20 people and the people not getting picked on the tribe. I don't think that the number should necessarily have to do with anything. I just want a good season of good cast, and apparently newbies are all the rage now, which I'm glad it took.
You're glad it came back.
It took them long enough, but I'm glad they've realized.
It's only been one season of newbies since
29
journeys.
29 is allegedly Blood versus Water, but with newbies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, and supposed casting thing is that supposedly Rachel, Riley, and Alyssa are on, and if that is true, I will be a very happy man. But I'm glad
Morgan won't be happy. She might not have the biggest hits in Survivor anymore. That could be disastrous.
Ben, what's your thoughts on an all-new cast for 30?
I think CBS have a habit of jumping the gun, thinking that things are too good. This season has been great, which is fantastic, and I'm glad that all newbies are back. But, you don't want to get ahead of yourself and think, 3 in a row could be great. I mean, it could be, but I disagree on the number thing. I think 30 is a milestone season. I think that 30 should be all returning players. I mean, as much as we're sort of sick of seeing returning players mixed with new players, I'm sick of that. I want to, have all returning players. We've only had it twice. And we haven't had it since season 20. So I think season 30, make it either what they've rumoured for a while, either Survivor Legends or Survivor All Winners. I would prefer All Winners. And then we can go back from 31 onwards back to new players for a while.
And I completely agree. And I think maybe 34 can be Blood versus Water 2, and then 38 be Fans versus Favorites 2.
I think 5 seasons in a row after 30 is all new. Get new players for a while after 30, but make 30 just all returning players, and then say, okay, we're done with returning players for at least 5 or 6 seasons.
I completely agree, except for the 2 random alpha males they're going to bring back, so they can lose to a girl at Final Tribal Council, and we can laugh at them. Anyways, before I wrap things up, does anyone have a Be quiet, Alicia. Before I wrap things up, is there any type of soapbox? Is there anything anyone needs to say that we haven't had a chance to talk about tonight?
Just to add on to that, CBS should be careful. I mean, this turned out great with all newbies, but are they forgetting One World ever happened?
Hey, don't knock on that.
I like One World.
One World was
I
bad
love
because
One
they
World.
divided it by gender. That was the reason One World was bad.
Survivor season that I saw.
One World was a good season. I just want to point out that another reason Tony won't win is he didn't know how to handle his balls.
During the challenge,
his balls were everywhere.
I was laughing at that. Spencer is back with his balls.
His balls
That
were
was the most
everywhere.
sexy challenge in the history of Survivor. We had balls, we had
I've never seen a
balls.
Survivor winner who could not handle his balls.
Okay, well,
We had porn music in the auction. Did anyone notice that?
Okay,
Porn music.
Yeah, with beer in the ring.
we got it with Rue.
Anyways, rib eating.
We had foreign music with Ribs and Rue, and to me, I don't think of a better way we could end this podcast. So I do want to thank everyone so much for coming on, and a special thanks to Ben from taking the time out of his busy Australian day, riding kangaroos. I don't know what you do, but thank you so much for coming on.
Dingo's eating babies.
Dingo's eating babies. Anyways,
I'm gonna go chew on an infant now.
Chew on an infant. All right. And I want to thank everyone who listens, and I can't wait for next week. The season has been amazing. Bye.